Okay, Mayor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to convene City Council Success Agency to the Westminster Redevelopment Agency meeting right now, 7:09 p.m., Wednesday, December 9, 2020. Roll call, please.
Mayor Top,
Here.
Vice Mayor Ho, Vice Mayor Ho.
Here.
Thanks. Councilmember Contreras,
Here.
Councilmember Doe,
I'm here.
and Councilmember Nguyen.
Here.
All council members are present.
Next, salute to the flag would be Vice Mayor Kimberly Ho, and invocation would be City Attorney.
Please stand. Hand over your heart. Follow my lead. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Attorney is muted.
Okay.
There you go.
Dear Heavenly Father, we humbly bow our heads as we gather this evening to do the important business for the city of Westminster. We're full of gratitude for all those who serve our community, who are serving those who are suffering from the COVID virus, that are health workers and health providers. Also, we ask you a special blessing upon those who are our first responders who protect our community. We ask a special blessing at this time for all those who are suffering from the virus, who are impacted by this virus economically. We ask you to watch over and guide and direct them and comfort them during these difficult times. We ask you to bless the City Council with wisdom and insight, that they will do this evening that which is best for all Westminster. We say these things in thy name. Amen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Kimberly Ho and City Attorney. Next, we have requests from staff to add urgency item number 5.3. So may I have a motion from City Council? This is a request from staff to add urgency item.
Mayor,
Staff should describe what that item is.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor, if I may, because of our virtual meetings, I was planning on reading the staff report into the
Okay,
record
please.
for those who were not able to access it today. So the request is to place an urgency item. The subject is modification of the small business grant program. The recommendation is for the mayor and city council to approve a modification to the CARES Act Small Business Grant Program, allowing any unallocated funds to be directed as recommended by staff. The staff report itself, in July 2020, the first supervisor district passed through funding to the city of Westminster to support small businesses. The funds have been allocated to the County of Orange through the Federal CARES Act. Westminster was provided $393,400 and provided guidelines for how the funds were to be spent, as well as a deadline of December 30th for expenditures. The amount was enough to provide 75 grants of $5,000 and cover some of the administrative costs. Eligible businesses were required by the county to have principal offices in Westminster, have business officers that lived in Orange County, not be eligible for other funding sources such as the Paycheck Protection Program, not be dominant in their field of operation, have 10 or fewer employees, and not be related to cannabis, gambling, or be an adult-oriented business. The city also required eligible businesses to have a business license valid as of March 1st and not have any current code enforcement violations. So a total of 151 businesses submitted applications in August following an advertisement period and were prioritized by lottery for funding in early September. For whatever reason, many businesses have been unresponsive, or slow to respond despite efforts from staff to reach out. But as of early November, only about 40 of the 75 potential grants have been processed. And in the last 3 weeks, the number of approved businesses has grown to 66. Staff remains hopeful that an additional 9 businesses can be pushed through quickly. Staff is seeking approval of a contingency plan at the time so that any remaining funding does not have to be returned to the county. At this time, staff is seeking approval that if the funding can't be allocated to a total of 75 businesses, that the remaining balance be split among the businesses that did complete the application process, as long as the additional amount to each business is at least $250 or at least 4 unallocated grants. If it's less than $250 per successful applicant is not available, the balance will be used to offset the additional consultant costs that have been required to move the applications to success. At the approval of the program, the council allocated 4.5% of the grant amount to cover administrative costs, which is $17,703. Consultant costs to support the program to date are $31,854, and additional charges will be incurred in the month of December. Costs above the allocation of $17,703 funded through CARES are being charged to the Business Support Fund the City Council authorized on May 13, 2020 in the amount of $100,000. There's no additional appropriation as needed. So again, staff is just asking for this report to go on to get permission so that additional funds can be, any unallocated funds can be directed.
Thank you for your staff report. So now I think that we have to make a motion, right?
Correct.
We would make a motion to add it as 5.3.
Right, right.
And just for the record, my understanding on this is that this can't wait because of the fact that the money would be lost, I believe is what you said. I just want, that's the urgency on it.
Yes.
May I have a motion?
I make a motion to add item 5.3.
I've already made it, so I guess that would be a second.
Okay.
Second?
All right. So we have a motion and second to move this item forward and on agenda. So we have a motion and second on the floor. Yes.
Yes. So that was a motion made by Councilmember Contreras, seconded by Vice Mayor Ho, and that's to add urgency item number 5.3.
Right. Correct.
Roll call vote, Mayor Ta,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho,
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras,
Yes.
Councilmember Doe,
Yes.
and Councilmember Nguyen.
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0.
Thank you. Next, we have ex parte communication, none, and we don't have special presentation. Any report from City Clerk?
Yes, the only thing that I'd like to report is that we've opened the recruitment period for any Westminster resident or others who would like to apply for a commission or committee. The recruitment period closes January the 7th at the end of the business day. There are more details that can be found on the city's website, including residency requirements as well as other requirements for very specific boards and commissions.
All right. Next, we have audio communication.
Yes. So this is the time that I'll be reading e-comments that were received as well as allowing members of the public to speak, total of 5 minutes. I understand that there are some internet issues on the east side of town, so I'll be calling for oral communications first before I read e-comments and circling back to anyone who may have had trouble during the first round of oral communications. So at this time, anyone who would like to verbally speak, raise your hand, and I do have a couple of requests here. First one is Representative Nick Innes from Senator Umberg's office. Nick?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Hi, my name is Nick Annis, District Director for Senator Umberg. Thank you for having me today. He sends his regrets. I want to first congratulate Councilmember-elect Manzo and Councilmember Ho on their elections. Senator Umberg looks forward to working with both of you, and of course, Mayor Ta and Councilmembers Doe and Nguyen in the coming year. But the main reason I'm here is to recognize outgoing Councilmember Sergio Contreras, who I've personally known for many years. So on behalf of Senator Tom Umberg and the California State Senate, thank you for your years of service to the residents of Westminster. Sergio has always been an energetic and tireless advocate for his constituents. And while we might be saying farewell tonight, we're definitely not saying goodbye. Anyone who knows Sergio knows that he will continue to serve the public in many capacities in the future. And while he may be a few years older than me, he somehow looks several years younger. So he has that going for him as well. So again, thank you for your time and dedication, and have a fantastic evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Lam Nguyen. Lam, are you with us?
Yes. My name is Lam Nguyen, and I'm the project architect of the project Quang Tri Monument, and I could be here to answer all the technical questions from the council. That's for now.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker is Lan Quoc Nguyen.
Good evening, dear Mayor, Chief Tar, and council member. I am Lan Quoc Nguyen, a representative of the Quang Tri Victory Foundation, which sponsored the proposed monument on the retaking of Quang Tri Citadel as indicated in item 5.1 on the agenda today. I urge the mayor and the council member to approve this project because it will add to the beauty and historical appreciation of the Freedom Park, which currently houses the first Vietnam-American War Memorial in the US. This proposed monument is to honor the sacrifices of both American and Republic of Vietnam in fighting in this decisive battle in the Eastern Offense in 1972. With the help of American air and naval support, the military forces from the Republic of Vietnam repulsed the invasion of the overwhelming force from Northern Vietnamese Army to prove to the world that the Army of Vietnam, the Republic of Vietnam could fight, and they could fight on their own despite being outnumbered by enemy forces. What stands out from this proposed monument is that in addition to honoring the sacrifice of the military personnel from both US and South Vietnam, it also highlights the bravery, the endurance, and the sacrifices of the Republic of Vietnam military, something that's often forgotten or distorted in the mainstream media or the school textbook. This proposed monument will only add to the main theme of the Vietnam-American War Monument, the centerpiece of this Freedom Park. The Quang Tri Victory Foundation will pay for all the costs in erecting this monument, and it will not cost the city anything. Again, we urge the City Council to approve this project item on item 5.1 today, and I will stay until the end of the meeting to answer any question that mayor or council member may have on this project. And thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak to the council today.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker is Mr. Dan Corolla. See if I can unmute you. Okay, we'll circle back with him. Next speaker is Craig Mandeville. I don't see Mr. Mandeville here either. Okay, so at this time, I'll just go down the queue. Let's see. There's a Bob. Bob. Bob, can you unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Okay. My name's Robert Harrison, USMC, United States Marine Corps, VP, President of Vietnam Veterans of America, Chapter 1024, and VP of the War Memorial. To the American Vietnam veterans, as well as the South Vietnamese ARVNs, the Vietnam War Memorial is a holy place, a sanctuary, where 58,000 plus American Vietnam veterans and 300,000 plus South Vietnamese military paid the ultimate price for freedom in Vietnam. And to this day, those who lived through the war come to this site to find refuge. All these additional monuments and proposals of a museum and visitor center commercializing the site take away from the essence of the Vietnam War Memorial itself. We have nothing against these monuments, the sacrifices of those who lived through these battles, but Sid Goldstein Park should not be their place. The city should find another location for them. I've spoken about this many times over and over. I humbly ask that you see the diluting and cheapening of the Vietnam War Memorial essence and vote no on building this new monument and any further monuments. Still on the books is a licensing agreement to go forward with commercial museum and visitor center. It needs to be rescinded. A lot of American Vietnam veterans and South Vietnamese, we meet, we talk, and we feel this way. There shouldn't be any more building. It's great that you're doing this, and it's great that you're honoring these battles, but there's many other battles. The unlocked battle, others that, how many more monuments are we going to build and take away from the essence of that original Vietnam War Memorial? So I'm against any building, and I would hope you would vote no. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Next speaker is Jody Boyd.
Hi, everybody. This is Jody. And like the speaker before me, I am very opposed to the building of any more memorials or monuments at Sid Goldstein Park. It is not part of our city's 5-year plan or any of our plans for our parks. We need to just stop and deny any applications for monuments moving forward. Let's get this issue onto the planning agenda for our 5-year plan and give all of the residents as a whole the opportunity to weigh in on what the vision is for Sid Goldstein Park. And I'm very sorry, but no matter how many monuments we want to put there, it's not going to bring back one life. Every square foot of ground that a monument takes up over there, it's not going to bring back a square foot of ground in Vietnam or South Vietnam. So let's come together as a community and put this as an item on our 5-year plan for our parks and our park beautification programs and move forward that way. The second item that I would like to discuss is also of importance. I have read the formal letter that was given to Sherry Johnson from William and Christine Kelly of Kelly Associates Management Group. This is the management group that was vetted and hired by the City of Westminster to act as the project manager for the current planning and investigation going forward regarding the Civic Center and the ENA. And I just want to, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but the public needs to understand, and again, this is a letter from Bill and Christine Kelly of Kelly Associates. From day one of our involvement on this project, Mr. Steve Sheldon has been aggressive and often hostile, whether in person, on the phone, or on Zoom calls, often towards me, Bill Kelly specifically. He seems to move his targets based on who he is requiring information, studies, or actions related to this project, with Alexa being the recipient of his aggressive behavior prior to my hiring as project manager. Christine Kelly and I have been doing this work, both working as a city-county officials as well as consultants to cities for over 35 years, with specific experience in overseeing large civic-related projects. We have successfully performed similar consulting work in other cities, and although the developer may not have gotten 100% of what they wanted, there was mutual respect between parties. We will not accept Mr. Sheldon's accusations, and we jointly feel that our continuing with this project will only result in further aggravations for us and for the city of Westminster. Steve's repeated requests for incomplete studies and processes, which appear to benefit him while detrimentally impacting the city's future use of the Civic Center property, is not something that we will participate in. For the record, this project needs to be processed legally and professionally. However, Mr. Sheldon does not accept professional opinions from us, and his continued negative statements about us to the City Council results in us repeatedly being requested to restate our qualifications and previous project actions. Since we have already passed an interview process previous to the hiring and have introduced ourselves, including our backgrounds, to each member of the City Council, we find these requests excessive and unacceptable. As a result, we are formally withdrawing from this project so the city can continue to move forward as they choose. We will not let Mr. Sheldon cause our professional reputation or integrity to be challenged or damaged. And this is signed by, again, William R. Kelly, President, CEO, and Christine Kelly, Executive Vice President. I would like to add, so now we've lost our professional project management team that was vetted and hired by the city due to Steve's behavior. We already have proven that Steve represented what Coastline College, and actually they're non-committal, for the $5 million. So he has continued to bully and lie, and he's not acting in our best interest. Let's get rid of him now and cut ties while we still can. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Roger Mindrum.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hello and good evening. This is Roger Mindrum, resident of Westminster. I would like to give my congratulations to our newest council member, Mr. Carlos Manzo, and I give thanks to all who voted for him. He's a good man and he is here for all the right reasons to make Westminster a better place for all residents and businesses. And we say farewell to Mr. Sergio Contreras. Thank you, sir, for your service to the community. With that, I am also very disappointed with the resignation of Kelly and Associates. Hopefully you are able to possibly reverse that and keep them on, because we, the residents and this entire city, really need an advocate to keep things on the level. So agree with everything Jody just said, and I second everything there. Next subject, I would like to get an update if and when we can expect some road repairs. We are still waiting, specifically me, for McFadden Avenue between Brookhurst and Ward. It is the worst. And I have spoke about this in the past year and even last year, and still nothing. It's really bad. Next subject, I would like to suggest and request preferably monthly or quarterly, updates and progress reports from CityNet and our police department liaison officer regarding the homeless population here. I don't claim to have any answers on the subject, but since we are paying quite a bit of money, I think the residents deserve to know this effort is actually helping people. Give us some examples and actual results and what is going on with efforts to help people who are homeless and residing in Westminster. Is this working? What, if any, plans for colder weather coming soon? I think you should have these updates presented at these council meetings monthly or at least quarterly. Have a good evening. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker is Terry Rains. Terry, hi.
Good evening, Terry Rains, Westminster. I was surprised that 2 items are not on tonight's agenda: the council review of the proposed nightclub inside the Viet Me building and the Sheldon Civic Center project. At the last meeting, the council's direction was to hold a special meeting very soon to hear an update from Sheldon, and more importantly, to hear what the council and residents of this city really want in a new civic center. Evidently, more information is needed first. The consultant firm hired to be project manager, Kelly Associates Management Group, submitted a letter of resignation to the city on November 23rd due to the unacceptable behavior of Sheldon and certain council members. Here are a few excerpts from that letter. No matter that you heard them already. Quote, from day one of our involvement of this project, Mr. Sheldon has been aggressive and often hostile, whether in person, on the phone, or in Zoom calls, often towards me, Bill Kelly, specifically. He seems to move targets based on who is requiring information, studies, or actions relating to the project, with Alexa being the recipient of his aggressive behavior prior to my hiring as project manager. And we will not accept Mr. Sheldon's accusations, and we jointly feel that our continuing with this project will only result in further aggravations for us and the city. His repeated requests for incomplete studies and processes which appear to benefit him while detrimentally impacting the city's future use of the Civic Center property is not something we will participate in. And for the record, the project needs to be processed legally and professionally. However, Mr. Sheldon does not accept professional opinions from us, and his continual negative statements about us to the city council results in us having to repeatedly requested to restate our qualifications and previous project actions. Since we have already passed an interview process prior to the hiring and have introduced ourselves, including our backgrounds, to each member of the city council, we find these requests excessive and unacceptable, end quote. I will speak more on Sheldon and the city manager recruitment before the closed session later tonight, so stay tuned, everyone. Item 5.1 is Mayor Todd's proposal to construct the retaken of the historic Quan Tri Citadel commemorative monument at Sid Goldstein Freedom Park. I am not discounting the significance of this particular battle in Vietnam, but since this park is named after Sid Goldstein, who was recognized for his distinguished service during World War II, why is this park only about the Vietnam War? Shouldn't it also honor the battles and wars fought for America's freedom or those fought on American soil, such as the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, World War I, World War II, etc.? Something to think about. Item 6.1 is to consider adoption of local campaign contribution limits. It took the state forcing the city's hand on this, and it's about time. I reviewed AB 571, and the imposed limit by the state would fall under section 85301A, which is $3,000 per election, but when adjusted for inflation as allowed, it is $4,900 per election in 2021, not per calendar year, and not $4,700 because that's the 2020 limit. The calendar year limits that are set under 853.16b still appear to apply only to state officials, but I'll let the city attorney clarify since he is the expert. I realize the city can adopt their own limits, but there is much more that relates to cities in this bill than what is reported in the staff report, which council should know. A personal campaign loan limit of $100,000, surplus funds, definition and restrictions, rules on transfers between campaigns and accepting contributions after an election, and mandatory recall campaign dissolution. The city should go with the state limits. That way, enforcement and penalties will fall under the act and be enforced consistently by the FPPC. But if this council wants to adopt stricter, lower limits with stronger penalties, I'm all for it. Congratulations to Carlos Manzo for his victory in becoming the first city council member to represent District 2. Unlike some candidates, he ran an honest grassroots campaign and limited his spending to only the amount he received in contributions, resulting in a balanced campaign with no debt. Imagine that. I know Carlos will bring integrity to this council and he will listen to the concerns of all residents and businesses in the city. So welcome to the dais, Councilman Manzo. At the same time, I'm very sad to see Councilman Contreras go. In a perfect world, Councilman Contreras and Councilman Manzo would be on the council at the same time. Councilman Contreras, thank you for your service and tireless efforts to improve our city. You leave behind a legacy of truth and pure commitment to the community, and you will be greatly missed. As for the selection of Vice Mayor tonight, we've had enough of Vice Mayor Ho. We've had enough of Vice Mayor Ho. It's time for Vice Mayor Doe. Councilman Doe received more votes than Councilman Nguyen when both were elected in 2018, and he is the logical choice. So out with Ho and in with Doe. Thank you.
And thank you. I'm going to try Mr. Dan Corolla one more time. Mr. Corolla, since you're using a phone, if you can press the asterisk sign and the number 6 to unmute yourself. One more time for Mr. Corolla. Hit the *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, we'll circle back with him one last time. I do have a couple of e-comments that we did receive by email. So the first one is from Al Dan, and it states, "Hi, dears. I am strongly opposed the approval of Mayor Tawtrey and his council members to add more meaningless, valuable Viet monuments to our holy and sanctuary Vietnam War Memorial Site. Please do not commercialize our sacrifice symbol of our American and Viet heroes. Best regards, Ao Dan." And another one from Minh Duc Gap Ho, retired Navy Vietnam veteran of the Navy. And he says, "Mayor Tri Tha City Council, as a soldier of Republic of Vietnam living in exile in America, I'm very glad to see many Vietnamese monuments erected in Westminster City. However, there are many branches of armed forces of Republic of Vietnam and also American and allied forces. If all of them request to continue to erect more and more monuments at Sid Goldstein Park, then the area will become a mess. Vietnam War Memorial is a symbol representing for the whole Republic of Vietnam, American and allied forces in Vietnam War. Westminster City has many nice parks besides Sid Goldstein Park. I humbly request Mayor and City Council move all future projects to other parks to save a little bit of remaining holiness, dignity, and spacious for the Vietnam War Memorial Site. I'm not against erecting more monuments in Westminster. However, at this location, there's already enough. Respectfully, that was Minh Duc Gap Ho. And those are the end of my e-comments. One last time to try for Mr. Dan Corolla. If you can hear me, please press *6 on your telephone to unmute yourself. And at this time, if there's anybody else who would like to speak under Aura Communications, please raise your hand.
All right, so we don't have anyone, so I continue with the consent calendar. All matter listed under the consent calendar I consider routine and may be approved by single motion, followed by roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of this item unless member of the City Council or staff request that specific item be removed from the consent calendar for separate action or discussion.
Move to approve. Move to approve.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar.
I had a motion from Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by Councilmember Contreras, and that's to move the consent calendar. Mayor Ta?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho?
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras?
Yes.
Councilmember Doe?
Yes.
Councilmember Nguyen?
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0.
Next, we have public hearings. The clerk, can you read all the rule?
So due to COVID-19 restrictions, changes have been made to the public hearing process in order to ensure members of the public may participate remotely. Any member of the public who would like to address the city council upon the opening of the public hearing item, just raise your hand under Zoom. And of course, I'll be reading any e-comments that we received in advance, as well as any requests in advance to speak.
Thank you so much. The first item, the only item, public hearing for 4.1, amendment number 5, essential to fiscal year 2019-20 annual action plan for community development block grant, CDBG and Home Investment Partnership Act program, federal funds. So I'd like to have a staff report.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. This item amends our fiscal year 1920 annual action plan in order to accommodate allocation of CARES Act funding, CARES Act through CDBG program. Westminster's allocation in this instance is $754,502. It seems very strange to be amending a plan that ended last June. However, we're following HUD's guidance on this because the federal government considers all the CDBG CARE Act funds to be in one pot, even though it's coming out in different times. So we have to amend last year's plan to receive the money and then kind of move forward. Staff is recommending that this funding be allocated in the following ways. First, $124,000 would be designated for later needs as they arise. As we have seen, this pandemic has been unpredictable, and we feel it might be prudent to keep a little bit in reserves as things come up, particularly as we're back in lockdown now. $30,000 to augment our senior needs programs, particularly for food delivery and available frozen food for our seniors. That program has expanded exponentially in the last few months, so we want to make sure that we can continue to fund that important service. $151,000 to administrative costs. And then finally, the largest piece that staff is recommending is to do a second round of rental assistance for residents in the city of Westminster that are making less than 50% of the area median income, considered low income by HUD standards. We're recommending this program essentially run the same way as the previous one that we did, where we offer 3 months of rental assistance for a maximum of $1,500 a month, a total 3-month period for $4,500. As we did before, we're recommending to have an advertisement period, a period where we receive applications, provide technical assistance to get through the application part, which can be challenging, which we saw last time. A number of documents have to be provided to us in order to be able to vet through the program and document it according to HUD standards. And then we would go through a lottery selection to prioritize the applicants. And finally, work through to make sure that all the applicants are appropriately vetted, meet all the qualifications of the program, and start sending out rent checks probably in March. So it'll take about a little over 2 months to get through the program, which is our experience from before. Under HUD guidelines, we are not allowed to double dip, so to speak. So those that received rental assistance the first time around for 3 months will not be eligible for this program. So it will be new residents that we would be able to reach. This program was wildly popular the last time. We do feel it is a good way to spend these funds. And I am here for questions and to the public hearing as well.
I have a question.
Thank you so much for your report, and any question from member of City Council before I open public hearing.
Yeah, I have a question. I know that we shut down a number of services due to the pandemic. Do we have any rollover dollars or unspent dollars from last year's CDBG dollars that we could, or is this the same dollars that we're talking about now?
So these are new dollars that were delivered to us in September of this year. So with that, I know it makes no sense. They were delivered to us in September, but they're considered part of last year. So we are allocating that specific piece. Yes, there's always a little bit of movement on how much money we have or don't have. And yes, from last year to this fiscal year, we did have rollover that we did program quite a bit of. But yeah, there's always a catch up piece of what gets spent and what doesn't, and then how that gets allocated out in the future.
Okay.
I have
yes.
a follow-up
If
question with Councilmember Contreras. So did our city, we already spent all the money in this funding last year or year before?
So we have spent most of the previous CARES Act CDBG funds, yes, and then we reprogrammed them again as part of the fiscal year that we're in the 2021 program. But the majority went to the rental assistance program that is completely done and out the door.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I have a question for staff.
Okay.
I'd like to know, how long did it take for you to administer this last CARES Act money for this purpose?
For the rental assistance?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I can tell you it was much more than we originally thought it was going to be. It takes 6 or 7 staff people to run this program and be working through translation services and technical assistance. As I said, the application process is a little bit laborious, so there is a lot of communication and outreach and time that goes into making applicants successful with their application. But I can certainly work with finance to get that number.
Okay.
I have a questions. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that this is second time around. You are more familiar with the process, and I guess you've already gotten on and off that learning curve. Are you in need of more help? Are you okay? Or how long, or shall I say, are you going to be able to shorten that process by a little bit? Because, I did get a lot of calls from the residents complaining about how long it took for them to get their money. So these folks are the ones that need money. And this is why we're helping them.
We do certainly feel like we learned from the previous experience. However, yeah, it really can just be a challenge to make sure that all the paperwork gets turned in. From our processes, once we have everything and we can vet everything, then we also face the additional challenge of the landlord responsiveness, because the checks do go to the landlord, so they have to sign the paperwork stating that they will take these funds on behalf of their tenant and provide their W-9. That was an additional hurdle that is kind of out of everyone's control. We certainly did our best to be very connected to these people and get things done quickly. But truthfully, I don't know how much faster it will go. Hopefully a little bit. Like you said, we've been through the learning curve, but there are things that are just out of our control.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I have a questions. If this item approved tonight, do you have a time frame? When do you start a new round of short-term emergency rental assistance or announcement, or when are you going to receive the applications?
Yeah, staff did talk about that. So what we would be recommending, given that the holidays are right here, and last time we did feel that the mailer was very helpful in spreading the word, because we did send that to all residences. So we would be looking to have the mailer drop the last week of December, so just past Christmas. So I think that Monday, December 28th, to get the mailer out, continue to advertise through the month of January. We would start accepting applications on January 13th. So we would accept applications January 13th through the 29th of January. We would then move into the lottery in early February and spend February reviewing the documentation and working with the landlords, and then start processing checks in March.
All right, thank you.
Is there any way around around the W-9? Is that part of the process? Is there any way around that? Because I know people are dropping out, or they're not able to receive their check because the landlords want to fill out the W-9. Is there another way around that?
No, that is the process to have their for anyone we send a check to, we get a W-9, and we do need to document that they're receiving the income.
And what exactly is the W-9? And what is it for?
It's for tax purposes, essentially. So it lets us know that you are either a person or a business.
Okay. I mean, I don't know why, how many people were in that situation? Do you know? Do you have a number in mind?
I think we had 5 that ended up being the most problematic. And we did try to work closely for a workaround and ultimately did make it work. But for the most part, it was just timing and responsiveness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just 5. Okay, that's good.
5 out of how many? Sorry.
Out of, I think we funded a total of 111. Run.
I mean, 5 out of 111 is pretty good. And again, this is something that we were not really prepared for. None of us were. I think you guys did an excellent job of processing and making the process simple as possible. But again, I want to acknowledge you for and city staff for making this project happen. I know that there are a lot of families very interested in this, and given the, again, circumstances, I think staff did a tremendous job expediting it to the best of their ability. I mean, and I know that we've learned a lot since then, because again, none of us were prepared initially. I'm sure this will be a little easier, but ultimately we have to have, I believe we need to have some paperwork and be able to create a paper trail in case anyone ever comes asking for us and or trying to audit us for those dollars. Want to make sure that we protect the city and we're being accountable to those dollars, because they're not ours. So again, thanks, Alexa.
Thank you.
I have questions about the $30,000 to set aside for the senior outreach center. Are we gonna do like meals to the seniors? Because the Meals on Wheels it's been shut down, right, by the county. Is that correct?
Right. They were calling it the Great Plates Delivered program, and yes, they have ended that operation. So our needs in that arena continue to grow.
Okay, so we have been continue doing that for the elderly in our city. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, and the county run out of money, or is that they have a limited window every year to do the Meal on Wheels for the senior? Alexa?
You know what? Diana might be able to answer that a little bit better. I believe it was funding. Diana?
It was FEMA funded. FEMA stopped the funding to the county, so that's why the county pulled the plug on the program. And since that program ended, we're trying to serve an additional 100 people within the last week and a half. So, is that helpful?
So that $30,000, how many people will we be able to provide meals for the next 3 months? Is that enough?
Well, yes. We anticipate that it's going to be plenty of money to get us through the next year.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. If we don't have any other questions or concerns, so I'd like to open public hearing.
Yes, thank you. We did receive one e-comment, and it is from the Kennedy Commission. This is from Cesar Covarrubias from the Kennedy Commission, and it states, "Dear City Council members, the Kennedy Commission is a broad-based coalition of residents and community organizations that advocates for the production of homes affordable for families earning less than $27,000 annually in Orange County. Formed in 2001, the Commission has been successful in partnering and working with Orange County jurisdictions to create effective housing and land use policies that has led to the new construction of homes affordable to lower income working families. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated needs that were already existing in our communities, and it is important that recovery efforts include both immediate and direct assistance to residents alongside side a vision for the economic recovery post-coronavirus pandemic. As you make amendments to your 2019-2020 annual action plan with emergency funding intended to assist in making a timely response to the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, we ask that you direct staff to ensure that assistance programs will be implemented without barriers and that they will be accessible to the city's residents with the greatest needs. We support the proposed amendment allocating $450,000 for the Westminster Cares Rental Assistance Program and encourage the city to increase this allocation wherever possible. There is a need to increase the amount of funds available for rental assistance in Westminster residents, and it is important that it is accessible to residents with the greatest need. This includes residents that are undocumented and have very low and extremely low incomes. Affordable housing and homelessness prevention must be a community priority to prevent increase in homelessness as statewide housing projects are lifted. Our recommendation would be that these investments are made in a way that addresses immediate housing needs and creates opportunities that can be leveraged in the near future to create new permanent affordable housing opportunities. The Commission urges you to consider and prioritize developing programs and policies that facilitate the production of affordable housing development along with immediate relief you are considering tonight. The Commission looks forward to partnering with the city to increase housing opportunities for lower income residents in the city. Please keep us informed of any updates and meetings regarding strategies to increase affordable homes for lower income households in the city. And again, that's from the Kennedy Commission.
Thank you so much. So we don't have any other speaker, am I right?
I actually have now people who want to address you verbally.
All right.
So at this time, I have Terry Rains. Terry?
Good evening, Terry Rains, Westminster. I am pleased the city will be receiving an additional $754,502 in Federal CARES Act CDBG-CV3 funds. It does seem odd that in order to receive these funds, the city has to amend last year's annual action plan instead of the current year's plan. But according to the staff report, the federal government sees this latest allocation as a part of the original CARES Act funding, which was approved in March 2020. So they want cities to retroactively amend their prior year plans. Hey, if it'll get us the money, by all means, amend the prior year plan. The city is proposing the following spending plan for this additional funding: $450,000 to a new round of short-term emergency rental assistance for another 100 households. I would like to ask staff to clarify tonight and in the program application materials whether or not residents can apply for this rental assistance for mobile home park space rents. If not, the program needs to be amended to include those residents, provided they meet all of the other established criteria. Number two, $30,000 is to the City of Westminster Senior Outreach Center to provide meals and other essential items to the city's elderly population during the pandemic, and it says for 75 seniors. Number three is $150,900 to CDBG administration. Funds will be used to offset staffing and operational costs associated with activities to prepare, prevent, and respond to the coronavirus. This one gives me some heartburn. First is the description. CDBG administration would, to me, mean covering the administrative costs to facilitate the activities funded by this particular allocation of funds. But the second sentence is far more generic and somewhat vague, indicating it can be used to cover any cost incurred by the city related to COVID. The other thing that gives me heartburn is allocating a full 20% of these funds to administration. I would rather see more money get directly into the hands of the residents of the city. Number four is $123,602 that will remain unallocated and will be programmed at a future date for activities to prepare, prevent, and respond to the coronavirus. Now, here are some questions about that last one. Doesn't the city have to specifically allocate all of the CARES Act allocation in this amendment to the 1920 annual action plan in order to receive it? Or why did staff choose not to allocate over 16% of the funds in this report, hoping that doing so will not hurt us in receiving the full allocation? Notably absent is any allocation to assist with the homeless issue. $95,000 was allocated from the first CARES Act funding to bolster the rapid rehousing program to help get our homeless residents off the street during the pandemic. We are entering the winter months now. The weather is getting colder and COVID cases are higher than ever before. I am just trying to understand why nothing is being allocated to this program this time around. Was the money from the first allocation not all used? Was the effort unsuccessful? It would probably help if staff could explain why nothing was included to help the homeless in our city in this allocation. Thank you for letting me share my input during the public hearing.
Hello, staff. Would you like to respond to some of the concerns from a resident?
We actually have a couple more speakers.
Okay.
Okay, next speaker is Jody Boyd.
Hi again, this is Jody, and I would like to clarify for Councilwoman Kimberly Ho and anybody else in the audience as far as what the W-9 form is. This is an IRS form, a request for information that the landlord would fill out, providing either their own social security number or their business FEIN. This is one of the checks and balances to help prevent against fraud within our program and welfare fraud as a whole. As an example, you know, we don't want residents colluding with their landlord in a situation where the resident has paid their rent, but by applying for this assistance, you know, they would, you know, and the landlord would get the rent, half of it would go back to the tenant. So again, this is helpful to prevent fraud. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
All right. Any other speaker?
No, that is all. Let me see, one last time. Nope, that's all for speakers for public comments.
All right. So if we don't have any other speaker, I'd like to close.
Actually, Mayor, there's nope, never mind. There was someone who raised his hand and then lowered his hand. So he raised his hand again. Let me try it. Nope, he lowered his hand.
All right. So now, any comment from member of the City Council? So now, this is the time for City Council to have action. I really appreciate the staff report, and I want to thank all the questions from member from the City Council. But I think that this is the item that we have to approve in order to continue to receive funding from the federal. So I move as recommended.
Second.
So that was a motion by Mayor Ta, seconded by Councilmember Nguyen, and it's to move as recommended, which is to approve a substantial amendment to the annual action plan for fiscal year 2019-2020, inclusive of any comments made during the previous 5-day public review period during this evening's public hearing, and authorize city staff to electronically transmit the amended components of the fiscal year 2019 to 2020 annual action plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Department via the Econ Planning Suite in the Integrated Disbursement and Information System. So for roll call vote, Mayor Ta?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho?
Yes.
Councilmember Harris?
Yes.
Councilmember Doe?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nguyen?
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0.
Thank you so much. Next, we have regular business, item 5.1, addition of the repackaging of the historic 1-tree Citadel Memorial Monument at the Golden Freedom Park. This is the item, this is a project of a new monument that I propose to the City Council. And first, I'd like to thank a few speakers who share the concerns regarding my proposal. I really appreciate that Attorney Lam Nguyen, he already explained the importance of the battle in the Vietnam War. And the only reason that I propose this project because I want to honor the sacrifices of South Vietnamese soldier and American ally. And I'm not appreciate some argument from a few last speaker. Their arguments are not convincing. If you read the staff report, this proposed monument, the main idea, just to honor the sacrifices of our men and women of the fight of South Vietnamese soldier and American soldier in a battle. And I think we're all aware that this is one of the most important battle in the Vietnam War in 1972. And for many people, it is a moment to be proud of. And for many others, it's a part of history, the Vietnam War history. So I believe this monument will complete the Vietnam War memorial for the future generation to learn about the Vietnam War. And I strongly believe that this project will help them, the future generation, to understand the contribution of the shared fight for freedom and democracy around the world. Some of the speakers mentioned that we should have this monument to be built in other locations. I don't see that we could do that in our city. Freedom Park is the only location that we have really meaningful, beautiful monuments to honor the sacrifice. So I still believe that this is a really important project for the community. I'm not convinced that we need to propose in another location because Sid Goldston Freedom Park is the best location. And the only reason that I propose because the monument will be a complete story, will be a complete item, complete project to honor the sacrifices. I think this is really, really meaningful, not only for me, but for the whole city and for the future generation. And with that said, I would like to move to approve this project. And I'd like to urge all members of the City Council to support me on this item. Councilmember Nguyen?
Yes, I do have, I appreciate for the speakers that call in and recommended another park. But at this point here, I would think that the project is very meaningful. It's the same as, isn't that the memorial park that we have is for the same meaning that we are doing for this particular monument. And all the monuments in this park are also about the American and their contributions in the shared fight for the freedom and democracy around the world. So at this point here, I would think that before we think of another park, I think this project is it's a right idea. It's where it's supposed to be. And I very well support the idea of having this particular monument at the memorial park. So with that, I will second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve this item.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay, please.
I don't have a problem with this project, but do we have a limit as to how many monuments that we're going to approve? in the future? Is there criteria? I mean, it's if we allow the Paracel Island, we allow the Quan Chi, we have to continue allowing more monuments from different battles, as well as different branches of the South Vietnam Army organization who's going to continue applying for that. Do we have any plan in the future how to deal with it, or we're going to just continue approving, build a permit to build monument, anything related to the Vietnam War?
Yeah, I appreciate your question. I think your question really legit. However, I don't know right now because this is the only current monument that I like to propose. Honestly speaking, I don't have any plan to propose any other monument at this time. This is the only monument that I think that I really passionate to ask for your support, because I think we all aware that this is a battle that the South Vietnamese soldier we won, and we been sacrificed. Our father, your father, my father, our first generation, they've been sacrificed for our freedom. And to answer for your question, I don't know, but this is the only monument that I like to propose at this time. Yeah.
So if there is no other questions and we have motion and second, I call for answer. I call for the vote.
All right, Councilmember Nguyen would like to call for a question.
Oh, so Mayor, it's really you that calls for the question, so.
Okay, so please.
Okay.
Call for the vote.
Okay, so that was a motion made by Mayor Ta and seconded by Councilmember Nguyen, and that's to approve the construction of the retaking of the historic Quang Tri Citadel Commemorative Monument within Sid Goldstein Freedom Park to be sponsored and funded by the nonprofit organization Quang Tri Victory Foundation. The roll call vote, Mayor Ta?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho?
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras?
Yes.
Councilmember Doe?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nguyen?
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0.
I sincerely thanks all the support from City Council. We appreciate that. Next item, 5.2, update to the part-time salary schedule, January 1st, 2021, effective December 19, 2020.
Okay, where am I? Hello, can you see me there? Oops, there I am. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. The item we have before you tonight is a resolution of the Mayor and City Council of City of Westminster providing for a compensation plan for part-time employees of the City of Westminster. Pursuant to state law, the minimum wage will increase to $14 effective January 1st, 2021. In the past, staff has recommended increasing hourly rates that only impacted certain or the impacted positions, which has now presented further compaction issues. And in order to begin to address these issues, staff is recommending that we update the part-time salary schedule in its entirety by $1 and while keeping the 5% step differentials between each of the steps in each of the salary steps. The law mandates one more additional increase to $15 in 2022. And the city will again be required to increase the hourly rate. So we're not quite done with this one yet, but ultimately it will be $15 once we get to the end of this process. The fiscal impacts for this is about $55,000 for the balance of the fiscal year 2021. And no adjustments are requested at this time. We anticipate that it actually has been included in the approved budget, and we don't anticipate any changes. If budget adjustments are required or needed at a later date, we will bring it back to council for approval. And that concludes my report. If you have any questions, thank you.
All right. Do we have any questions or concerns from Mayor and City Council?
So how much is the minimum wage going to be increased in 2022?
It'll be an additional $1 each year. Goes up by $1. Yeah, so it'll be 15 in 2022.
And how many part-timers are we, how many part-timers will this affect?
We have approximately, not quite sure the exact number, because we've kind of, because of COVID, we don't have as many part-timers working right now. The hours have been cut. I don't know, I don't know if Sherry, you want to chime into how many we actually have that are impacted.
Yeah, the impact is mainly to the actually the lowest paid people. But for instance, our rec staff is not working right now to the capacity they have in the past. So it's not, which is why we're not asking for a budget adjustment. The amount of part-timers varies at different times of the year. In summer, we have more than in winter because of our summer programs. In summer, we weren't able to run a lot of our programs. So it's not really affecting a lot of people in the part-time. And I don't have an exact part-time number right now.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, sorry.
No, it's understood. I know that there's I think we could look at last year's numbers, but I know that we've downsized. I'm just curious in terms of the impact.
Excuse me, we have 116 active part-timers, but they're not all working. That's just active in the system.
Right.
Thank you.
So this will cover for 2021 and 2022 too, right? Or are you going to bring it back again in 2022?
We'll bring it back again in 2022. This is just for 2021. And it's mandated by the state.
So can we just make it cover for both years since it's mandatory? It's going to happen. So can we make a decision for both year 2021 and 2022 so that we don't have to deal with it again?
It's just an annual report. So anytime you raise a minimum wage, so I mean that would be I guess that would be if the council decided they wanted to go with the minimum wage of $15 now, but no, I mean last year we brought one from, I remember it must have been 12 to 13, and so this time it's $13 to $14. So it's just a regular standard report that you'll see one more time next year.
Okay, move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have the motion and second to approve this item. I think this is a mandate item that we have to approve because it's mandate from the state based on our staff report.
Yes, so that was a motion made by Councilmember Doe, seconded by Vice Mayor Ho, and that's to approve as recommended, which is adopt a resolution entitled A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster, providing for a compensation plan for part-time employees of the City of Westminster. The roll call vote, Mayor Ta.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho.
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras.
Yes.
Councilmember Doe.
Yes.
Councilmember Nguyen.
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0.
Next item,
5.3.
yes, 5.3. Modification to small business grant program. I think our staff already explained this item, unless that the member of the City Council would like to hear a staff report again. If not, so may I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 5.3.
Second.
All right.
Okay, so that was a motion made by Vice Mayor Ho, seconded by Councilmember Nguyen, and it's to move as recommended, which is to approve a modification to the CARES Act Small Business Grant Program, allowing any unallocated funds to be directed as recommended by staff. So roll call vote, Mayor Ta.
Real quick, can I have a question real quick? Do we have any data as to how many businesses that we received funding the past months and they went belly up, they went out of business? Do we have any idea?
We don't have that information. Repayment on, I mean, these are grants, so no, that's not something we're tracking right now, just because so far what we're seeing is most businesses are kind of trying to stay put. This new lockdown certainly may change that, but no, we don't have that data.
We don't have, okay, so who keep those data? The county?
No, it would eventually be us through the business license program. Whether or not they renew their business license would probably be the most likely way that we would know.
So we have to wait until their license is up.
Right. Yeah. And those are done on a rolling basis. So, if you got your business license in January, you renew in January. If, you got it in June, you renew in June. So some cities do it, all in January, and you kind of get that picture, that snapshot in time, but ours is rolling. So it takes time.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Okay, so roll call vote. And again, that was motion made by Councilmember Ho, seconded by, made by Vice Mayor Ho, seconded by Councilmember Nguyen. Apologize. Mayor Ta?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho?
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras?
Yes.
Councilmember Doe?
Yes.
Councilmember Nguyen?
Yes.
Okay, that motion carried 5-0.
Thank you. Next item, 6.1, consider adoption of local campaign contribution limit. So may I have a report from either city clerk or city attorney?
Yes, hi. So just to briefly go over the AB 571. So tonight for consideration is the consideration of an adoption of a local campaign contribution limits. Basically, starting January 1st, 2021, pursuant to Assembly Bill 571, a state campaign contribution limit will by default apply to city and county candidates when the city or county has not already effected a contribution limit on such candidates. That would indeed affect us. So along with the new campaign contribution limit, there are also other provisions that formerly applied only to state level candidates, and those will now be applied to city and county candidates. So starting July 1st, it's a campaign contribution limit that will be, it is $4,900. That was actually approved back in November due to inflation. So for 2021 to 2022, the default campaign contribution limits will be $4,900. And of course, that's updated by every 2 years for inflation. Other provisions that will be applied if the city chooses to go with the state's campaign contribution restriction include the following. A candidate may not make a contribution over the AB 571 limit to another candidate in jurisdictions that are subject to the AB 571 limit. Candidates may transfer campaign funds from one candidate-controlled committee to another committee controlled by the same candidate if the committee receiving the transfer is for an elective state, county, or city office. The contributions transferred must be transferred using the last in, first out, or first in, first out accounting method and shall not exceed the applicable contribution limit per contributor. Candidates may also not personally loan to a candidate's campaign an amount for which the outstanding balance exceeds $100,000, and a candidate may not charge interest on any such loan the candidate made to the candidate's campaign. Candidates may establish a committee to oppose the qualification of a recall measure and the recall election when the candidate receives a notice of intent to recall. Campaign funds raised to oppose the qualification of a recall measure and or the recall election would not be subject to any campaign contribution limit under the Act. Contributions after the date of the election may be accepted to the extent contributions do not exceed net debts outstanding from the election, and contributions do not otherwise exceed applicable contribution limits for that election. Candidates can carry over contributions raised in connection with one election to pay for campaign expenditures incurred in connection with a subsequent election for the same office. And then candidates are permitted to raise contributions for a general election before the primary election and may establish separate campaign contribution accounts for the primary and general, so as long as candidates set aside contributions and use them for the general or special general election as raised. If the candidate is defeated in the primary election or otherwise withdraws from the general election funds must be refunded to contributors on a pro rata basis, less any expenses associated with the raising and administration of the general election contributions. So again, with the AB 571, those provisions would apply. The City Council does have the ability to impose their own campaign contribution limits, which could include no limit to a monetary amount. The catch with that is if the City Council chooses to adopt a locally imposed campaign contribution limit, the city would then be responsible for the enforcement as well as any provisions that you would want applied. So in this case, if the City Council accepts the statewide contribution limit, the FPPC's authority would still be in play, and therefore they would be responsible for enforcement of those limits. Again, if you decide that the city will have its own limits, then we would need to discuss enforcement, how things would be enforced, what the cost of enforcement would be, and again, all those other provisions that that would be necessary, like such as loans and again, loans and transfers, etc. That pretty much concludes my report, and I can answer any additional questions you may have.
I move to approve the default to the statewide campaign contribution restriction.
Second. All right, we have a motion and second on the floor.
Okay, so that was a motion made by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by Mayor Ta to default to the statewide campaign contribution restriction as a result of AB 571 beginning January 1st, 2021. Mayor Ta?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho?
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras?
Yes.
Councilmember Doe?
Yes.
And Councilmember Nguyen?
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0.
All right, next item 6.2, annual conflict of interest code update. City Clerk.
Okay. So this is the biennial conflict of interest code update. We do this every 2 years. So back in June of 2020, we took a resolution out to direct the review of the conflict of interest code, in which staff has done that, taking a look at all the positions that we have in the city, and based on necessary amendments such as new positions and positions that need to be added to our list of designated employees for reporting, for conflict of interest reporting. What we're presenting to you tonight is the updated resolution with those changes that we made.
All right, I move to approve.
I second.
Okay, motion made by Mayor Ta, seconded by Vice Mayor Ho, and that is to adopt a resolution titled "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster amending the conflict of interest code for the City of Westminster for designated employees and officials." Mayor Ta?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho?
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras?
Yes.
Councilmember Doe?
Yes.
Councilmember Nguyen.
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0.
Next item, 6.3. Declaration of result of November 3rd, 2020 general municipal election.
Move to adopt a resolution and ordinance number 2570.
Second. Motion made by Councilmember Nguyen, second by Councilmember Contreras.
Okay. So that was motion made by Councilmember Nguyen, seconded by Councilmember Contreras. And it's to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Westminster reciting the fact of the general municipal election held on November 3rd, 2020, declaring the result and such other matters as provided by law, and confirm the adoption of ordinance number 2570 entitled, An Ordinance of the People of the City of Westminster, adding Westminster Municipal Code Section 2.04.0125 regarding term limits." So roll call vote, Mayor Ta,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ho,
Yes.
Councilmember Contreras,
Yes.
Councilmember Doe,
Yes.
and Councilmember Nguyen.
Yes.
And that motion carried 5-0.
Thank you. Next, we have City Council reorganization, outgoing council member recognition, council member Sergio Contreras. I believe we have a presentation about council member Sergio Contreras, and on behalf of City Council, we want to thank council member Contreras for his dedication. I had a great opportunity and honor to work with council member Sergio Contreras in many different projects, general plan, and council member Contreras also a pioneer who the item of, excuse me?
Sorry. Go ahead, Mayor. Sorry, the broadcast in the front had
All right, so I just want to
Go ahead.
continue. I don't want to repeat.
Go
so
ahead,
basically-
No, you can continue. We got to pioneer. We got to
okay.
pioneer.
So I had a rare opportunity to work with Councilmember Contreras and in many different projects, and Councilmember Contreras also a pioneer to build Mendes Monument, and I think that that's mean a lot for the community in our city. So I really appreciate everything he done, and I wish him well.
Okay, at this time, Mayor, we have a video slideshow just featuring some of the highlights of Councilmember Contreras.
Well, I want to thank you staff for putting together to have a really nice presentation about Council Member Sergio Contreras. The good thing about Council Member Contreras that he looked the same after 8 years on the City Council. He doesn't age. That's really good. He still look good to me. Okay.
I just want to say a few words to him.
Please.
Councilman Contreras, thank you for your years of service. I really appreciate your time and dedication in the last 8 years. Having worked with you in the last 4 years, it has been a pleasure. And I wish you much success in your future endeavors. Thank you again for your service. Hope to see you around City Hall.
All right, any other council member?
Yeah, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Councilman Sergio Contreras for your selfless service, public service. You serve with honor, integrity, and honesty, and you serve everyone in the community, regardless. I have walked with you to fight for the freedom in Vietnam. You fully supportive about Vietnamese community. You support the community cause, not just the Vietnamese community, you support everyone. And you got so many people from the Vietnamese community support. And it was an honor, it's been an honor to serve with you in this council the past 2 years. And I appreciate all the help and all the guidance you have been giving me since I first got elected in 2018. And, good luck, sir. Take care of yourself.
Well, it's been my honor working with you, Councilmember Contreras. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank for your effort, your dedication to the city of Westminster. Needless to say that, our council and the mayor already said. So again, I appreciate for, your effort there. Your legacy, you're still here, and we could continue with the legacy that you left behind.
All right, Councilmember Sergio Contreras, you would like to say anything?
Mayor, I'm sorry, if I might.
Sorry.
Thank you. Councilman Contreras, on behalf of myself and the staff, we want to thank you for your hard work and dedication to our city. And we're looking forward to seeing what the future holds for you and to working with you as a well-respected resident. So well wishes and good luck to you.
Thank you, City Manager and City Attorney. I would like to hear from City Attorney.
Love to talk about Sergio's a special person. I think that whatever Sergio does, his heart's in the right place. That Sergio does things for what's best for Westminster. And no matter whether you agree or disagree with him, you know that Sergio's motivations are pure and true. He wants to do the right thing for Westminster. He's a great guy. He seems to keep looking younger and younger every time I see him. So he's an amazing person that way too. But I really enjoyed working with Sergio, and I hold him in high regard and view him as a friend. Thank you, Sergio.
All right, thank you so much, City Attorney. Anyone else? You're more than welcome. Okay, so now Councilmember Sergio Contreras.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, just really a great big thank you for your kind words and your support over the years. Looking at that slideshow, I can't believe that I actually served 8 years on this council. It just went by like that. But I really am grateful really to the city staff and everyone that's worked at the city. We've gone through some challenging times over the years, and we've been able to stick together and keep our family together and keep our lights on and city services for our residents. But I really want to thank, again, all the city staff members, that have come and gone over the years. And I want to thank, of course, my wife and my daughter and son who've been patient with me, and just really grateful to the community, and my friends and neighbors. Really, really grateful to the people of Westminster. Again, city staff has been outstanding, and just none of the work that we do on the council would ever be done without them. So there's nothing to be said that a councilman has ever done alone, because that's really, a challenge if you have no one to do the work and once you set direction. So really want to thank the staff again for their patience while we've gone through some troubling times up and down. Just really, really grateful to them. I'm really grateful to our men and women of the Westminster Police Department, members of the Westminster Police Officers Association that have supported me since I was on the school board and on the council. It really has been an honor to have their support, and I would not be here if not for them or my friends from labor, from working for the Orange County Labor Federation. But everyone that's really helped me get here. Nothing has made me prouder than any of my achievements to be able to serve my hometown over the last 16 years as a school board member and as a councilman. I just, nothing has been sweeter to be able to do and serve my neighbors and friends. Together we've done some incredible things on the council. We've updated the general plan for the first time in 20 years. I'm proud to be able to help lead that and to create our first parks master plan. Really excited about that. All the work we did to improve our parks, the $9.2 million that we invested to make safe places for our community. Everything from call boxes to exercise equipment. I'm really proud of the work we did there. Proud of the work we did to upgrade the Family Resource Center. That was really one of my really special projects. To be able to revitalize that place and make it an inviting place for our community to come for help. Really, really grateful to the work from city staff to help make that happen, and their support to help clean up Hoover Street and make it a nice walking, biking trail. Everything, and also grateful for the opportunity to create a community preservation unit. Here in the city to help kind of clean up the blight over the years. And just really grateful for the Mendez Tribute Monument Park and the Mendez Freedom Trail that we just closed up, and for all the countless things that we did as a council. I'm just really grateful to my colleagues on the council, Mayor Ta, for your support over the years, and to current City Council, Kimberly Ho, Councilmember Nguyen, and Tai Do. We've had, again, our ups and downs and our disagreements, but at the end of the day, I think we always focus on what we think is best, and really appreciate perspectives and the insight and support of the years. But again, grateful. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be next door, continue my work, and then my service, being a public education advocate as the executive director of United for Student Success for the Orange County United Way, and then my work as a director on the Midway Sand District as we continue cleaning up our city. And then, continuing to see what's next. But I really am grateful to everyone who's helped me and helped make this possible. I'm excited for what's next. But again, really grateful. And last but not least, well, actually, two people I want to forget to thank is Diana Daubert for her support over the years to give our youth safe places and things to do, and keep our youth off the streets. That's always been really important to me. And she's always been supportive and flexible in that. But last but not least, I want to congratulate my neighbor and friend, Carlos Manzo, who will be taking the seat. I wish you the very best. And then I wish you may you have strength and courage, and may your light shine bright as you take your place and you continue to move our city forward through these challenging times. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I greatly appreciate that. Next, we have our office.
Yes, Mayor and members of City Council. So due to COVID-19 this year, we had to do the oaths of office a little bit differently, and we did them virtually. So over the course of a couple of days last week, we had oaths of office pre-recorded for each of our incoming council members. So the first one will be for Council Member Carlos Manzo for District 2. So we'll play that oath of office. He was in He was invited to come in and record the oath along with immediate members of his family. And the oath was administered to him by our outgoing council member, Sergio Contreras.
Mazo, it's an honor to administer your oath of office. If you could please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name,
Carlos Manzo,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States,
to the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of California,
the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of council member
of council member
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And at this time, Councilmember Manzo has a few words he'd like to say.
Hello, everybody, and thank you. And I just want to say, I'll keep this short and quick. I just want to say thank you to all those who volunteered and helped in our campaign. It was truly a grassroots effort. It's been a really difficult year for everybody, for sure. And just getting to this point, it seems so not even real for me right now. I also want to thank my wife, Lisa, which without her, I wouldn't be here. She's been supportive of me forever, and my family as well. I also want to thank Councilmember Sergio Contreras. I've learned a lot from him over the years. I've had the privilege of seeing him work, and I truly have never seen somebody work as hard as he has. He is truly a public servant for every sense of the word, public servant, and he's just truly a great guy personally, and I'm honored to call him my friend. And I just hope that I can live up to even come to a fraction of what he has been able to accomplish for our city. And us residents here have been lucky to have him serve us for all these years. And I just want to say I'm looking forward to the council, to working with you, learning from you, how I can help, and how we can all come together and really do something great for our community. And I'm excited to get started. And I also want to thank all the staff for all their support that they have given me in guiding me and getting me ready. They're very kind. And the planning department that I've worked with for over 8 years now, have been so kind and helpful to me over the years. So I just want to say thank you to them. And I look forward to getting started. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, we'll go into Councilmember Kimberly Ho for District 3. We'll do her oath of office. She'll have a few words to say, and then at that time, Council, you can make your comments to congratulate the incoming council.
I can't hear anything, Christine.
Okay, we can pause it and restart it if you can't hear it.
Mute myself.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Kimberly Hall,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties of City Council member
discharge the duties of City Council member
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Councilmember Ho.
Hello. It is with great pleasure to be reelected the second term to serve as your city council member, this time for District 3 of this great city of Westminster. I have a lot of people to thank. First of all, I'd like to thank my constituents, those who voted for me, and those who stood on the sideline and rooted for me. I thank you for believing in me and giving me the opportunity to continue my work as I embark upon my second term. The picture you saw at my swearing in is the person I'd like to thank next. He was my best friend, my mentor, and my father, Mr. Osikai. And I try to compose myself, excuse me. A former colonel and a commandant of the Republic of Vietnam Armed Forces Field Artillery School. He graduated from the United States Army Command and General Staff College at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, whose alumni included the 34th President Dwight Eisenhower. I could not have chosen a better person as my mentor. Thank you, Dad, for teaching me how to be a public servant and the importance of giving back to my community. I like to honor my dad in this election. He passed away 5 days before November election night on October 29th. Love you, Dad. Next, I'd like to thank my husband for always standing with me, beside me, and supporting me through all the things that I aspire to do in life. I know this year my family and I, including my sons Weston and Justin, my mom, had to endure not just one election, but two. This election and the recall election. Thank you for standing by me. I would like to make my speech short, but I can't end my speech without thanking my team at City Hall, my staff. You all make me look so good. I thank you for being such great sports, for always carrying out your work in such a professional manner, no matter what problems arise. We have gone through so much in the last 4 years together, and cheers to another 4 years. And with you all there supporting me, I know together we will do great things for our city. Thank you.
Well, first I'd like to extend my congratulations to both Councilmember Menzo and Councilmember Ho for your election. I look forward to work with you and the rest of the council. I believe that we're going to work well to move the city forward, and we continue to serve our community.
First, I would like to congratulate to Council Member Menzo, and I look forward working with you for betterments of the city of Westminster. I also want to congratulate to Council Member Ho, Vice Mayor Ho, for the re-election, and another 4 years for you to be able to help out and to move this city forward. So I really expecting that and hope that we will work together for the following years. Congratulations.
Yes,
Sorry, go ahead, please.
I'd like to congratulate Councilwoman Kimberly Ho for within the re-election representing District 3 and Councilman Menzo for District 2. And I'm looking forward to work with you both and the council for the next 2 years in anything and everything for Westminster. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Carlos Manzo again. I reached out to him personally previously to congratulate him. And Mr. Manzo is a great person. I've worked with him before, and we were on planning commission together very briefly. That was not that long ago. I'd say about 4 or 5 years ago. I think the time has gone by very fast, but I'd say about maybe 5, 6 years even. But I'm so glad to see you again, and I'm looking forward to working with you. And I know we will be able to work very well together as we did before on the Planning Commission. Again, congratulations and welcome.
Say thank you to all you for your kind words, and you're very kind, and I appreciate it. And I look forward to learning from all you, and I will be picking your brains. That's what I do. I like to learn from everybody. So look forward to it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And I guess that we have to do a roll call again. City Clerk.
Yes. So give me just 1 second. Right, so new roll call vote, or I'm sorry, new roll call. Mayor Ta.
Yeah.
Councilmember Doe.
Here.
Councilmember Ho.
Here.
Councilmember Manzo.
Here.
And Councilmember Nguyen.
Here.
All council members are present.
Thank you. Next, we have City Council reorganization, appointment of Vice Mayor. I'd like to nominate Councilmember Charlie Nguyen.
And I
I'll
second.
second that.
Okay, so that was a motion made by Mayor Ta, seconded by Councilmember Ho, and that's to appoint Councilmember Chi Charlie Nguyen as Vice Mayor for a term of 1 year. Okay, roll call vote, Mayor Ta.
Yes.
Councilmember Doe.
Yes.
Councilmember Ho,
Yes.
Councilmember Monzo,
Yes.
and Councilmember Nguyen.
Yes.
And that motion carries 5-0. And now Councilmember Chi Charlie Nguyen will be Vice Mayor Chi Charlie Nguyen.
Right, congratulations
I
to
wanted to thank,
Vice Mayor.
I want to
Next
thank
we
you all.
have- Yes, please.
I want to thank you all for trusting me with the vice mayor position, and I will promise to do my best to work with you all you guys for the coming year.
Next, we have a comment and request for agenda item from City Council agency members, including AB 1234 report when required. Any other comment? I don't have
Yes.
anything that I want to. Okay, please. Any council member?
Yes, I just want to take this opportunity to express that we have to endure another stay-at-home orders from the governor, and many businesses have to shut down. This time around, all the outdoor services, restaurant have to be completely shut down for another 3 weeks, and we're not sure it's going to be lifted or not after 3 weeks. It's very unfortunate. I just want to let the community knows that I feel your pain. I know that a lot of businesses have to shut down completely. They cannot endure the loss of business during the pandemics. So we need to, it's just our city, we need to look at the innovative way to help businesses to do business after the stay-at-home order lifted. Outdoor dining, that's for sure. That's something we need to look into. I'm not sure that the interim city manager, Sherry Johnson, maybe we can come up with a business plan to establish an outdoors policy for the businesses to do business, because right now it's cold. And if you take the time to cruise around town, you see a lot of people, a lot of businesses putting up tents. And we're not sure if we want to help business to form some kind of shelter, outdoor shelter, but make sure it's ventilated so that it will not spread the virus, the pandemic. Because it seems like a lot of shelters outdoor is more enclosed than indoor. Maybe we can look into, if businesses have enough doors that wide enough that can ventilate the entire premises, so we can consider it as outdoor instead of everything have to be moved outside. That's all I have. Is this our last meeting for the year, or it is? Okay, so I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a happy and safe holiday seasons. I have heard this. I'm not sure. That's not been confirmed, but I've heard that there's a widespread of the COVID-19 in our community, and the issue that most people have noticed is that those who have tested positive for COVID-19, they not properly quarantine themselves. They continue to put on a mask and business as usual, going shopping and so we need to take this. This is a personal responsibility. If we are tested positive with COVID-19, please stay home. Please stay home and keep everyone safe. So thank you very much. Happy holiday.
Thank you, Councilmember Doe. Who would
Yes.
like to speak next?
Yes, I want.
Vice Mayor.
Yeah. Vice Mayor or sorry. I just want to say this because I know that this year is a very tough year for every one of us. And I know that each and every one, we all been working really hard, especially our staff. They have been working hard day and night to make sure that getting our city moving forward because of the COVID. I've been going back and forth, in the city hall, and I saw that they've been doing their job. Really, they put their heart into it, and I appreciate their efforts. When I say there, the meaning from their city manager to city clerk and everyone there. I can see that they really put their effort into the work that they do. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you all, and let us continue to work together and make sure that be safe and be healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Ho, Councilmember Menzo, would like to say
I'll go
anything?
next if Kimberly, if Councilmember Ho doesn't mind.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to echo some of the comments made by the other council members. It definitely has been a difficult year for everybody. I also want to thank the city staff. I mean, they're not only have they continued to do their daily tasks that to move the city, but then COVID came along and had to take that on as well. And there's a lot of things they do that people don't see. And I just want to say my many, many thanks to them that they've been keeping us afloat, our city afloat, still operating while still taking on the task of everything that has to do with COVID. And that's a job in itself. So almost every single member of our staff is doing double duty. And I just want to say a thank you to them. And, we're one community. We need to look out for each other. This pandemic is taking, very toll on everybody, and we need to look out for each other. And so please, everybody, wear your mask. Wash your hands frequently, social distance, and together somehow we'll get through this and come out on the other side. And I also want to take this, since this is our last meeting for the year, I want to take this opportunity from my wife and my family to everybody out there. I want to wish you peace and joy this holiday season, and cherish every moment that you spend with your family. So that's it. And also for council, holidays, special holidays, greetings to you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ho?
Yes. I'd like to put on a calendar for the next meeting, if that's okay. Okay, so I'd like to have a homelessness update. I know that we talked about this before, and then came the election, and I haven't heard anything. But I think it's time for an update to let us know exactly what has been done. And I know the last time we were going to partner with City of Garden Grove, and we were going to have a meeting with them, or take like a field trip. But I know that I don't expect the field trip, but some form of a meeting, whether it be on Zoom. We need to start a discussion, or have we started, and where are we at? So I'd like to see if we can, next available at the next meeting, we could get an update on that. And then I know that there's been talks about vaccines, and I know that with the holiday and this being the very last meeting of the year, we don't want to wait until we reconvene to get updates on vaccines, because our lives our residents' lives are on the line, and everybody needs to get their hands as soon as possible on those vaccines. So if we'd like to get vaccine updates post them on the website or other form of communications as soon as possible. And I don't know how do we normally get the word out, but whatever is the most effective, or use all forms of communication to get the word out on the vaccines. If staff is available to give me any updates on vaccines at this time. Is there anybody who could?
I think that as we're all aware that we all received the email from, I think, from the County of Orange. They just received, they was informed, County of Orange was informed by the state that they're going to receive 25,000 doses of vaccine on the 15th. So I'm not really sure that whether or not our city we go to receive any portion from it. So
Yeah.
I'd like to, if our interim city manager know anything about that, can you please give us update?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Yes, the first recipients will be healthcare workers, and then it trickles down to there. But I did reach out to the county recently, and let them know that should there be a vaccine distribution, that the city of Westminster would very much like to be a part of that, and that we will facilitate anything that we can in our city to make that happen. You know, our staff is willing and able to work and make, you know, our parking lots available, or the Westminster Mall. And so they were grateful for that. And so we're on their list, and we've given them notice. I did also want to let the residents know that we currently have a kiosk, testing kiosk at City Hall in front of the Community Services Center. And they are open on Wednesday and Saturday. It's by appointment, so you can go online on the county website and make an appointment. Starting next week, they're going to try and amp up and eventually get to a Monday through Saturday. It's by appointment. It's a long line. It is tedious. It's not a drive-through. And the reason for that is people wanted a place they could go where they didn't have to drive if they were being dropped off at a bus stop or something, and didn't actually have a vehicle to go through a line. So I'm really excited to have this kiosk right outside our door. So please, residents, use that and stay safe and stay healthy.
So I have a question with city manager. So basically that's not an appointment.
It is appointment.
Before taking a test. It's not a walk-in, right?
It is not a walk-in. It is appointment. It's appointment. And even when you do have an appointment, I will say that even if you do have an appointment, be prepared to wait. It is a long process, and they're hopefully, you know, they're ramping up, and hopefully they'll get going quicker on it. But it's free, so that's good. And it is, like I said, it's right outside our door, and social distance line, and wear a mask, please. And
is that all day or only half day?
I believe it was 9 to 4.
That's considered all day, yes. Thank you for your help. Yeah.
Okay, so lastly, I'd like to, being that this is the very last meeting of the year, I'd like to remind everybody to please stay safe as we celebrate the holidays, and remember, your health comes first. So whatever we do, we keep in mind that your health comes first. And may this coming year be a better one for all of us, and happy holidays. Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. And I want to thank our city staff for working really hard.
Could we take a vote? Normally we would take a vote on adding the homelessness item to the next agenda.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd like to honor that request.
I second it.
So that was Councilmember Ho's request, and then seconded by Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Okay.
Roll call vote, Mayor Ta.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Yes.
Councilmember Do.
Yes.
Councilmember Ho.
Yes.
Councilmember Manzo.
Yes.
That motion carried 5-0 to add a homelessness update on an upcoming agenda.
All right, this is the last meeting of the year. I wish everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. So I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Regular meeting will be on Wednesday, they said. Oh, for the next regular meeting will be on Wednesday, January 13, 2021 at 7 p.m. However, we have another special meeting.
Yes, so at this time, Mayor, anyone who is watching and would like to participate in the oral communications portion of the next meeting, just stay on this call. We need about 5 minutes to transition from the regular meeting to the new meeting, but don't log out. And then, of course, we've obviously run past 8 p.m. It's now 9:19. So I would say this is a good time for a 5-minute break so we can prepare as staff, and we will be back in 5 minutes.